AJ Craig Stammen spoke earlier today. Sounds like you guys are leaning towards perhaps keeping guys like Mason Miller, Adrian Morejon, David Morgan in bullpen roles this season. What can you tell us about where you're at as far as the decision process on if those guys would be stretched out?
Yeah, I mean, I think that our initial conversations, we're still, I think, still gonna, it'll be ongoing as we go through the off season. But I think the original conversations or the initial conversations with the staff, I think we like our pen, we like the strength of the pen and the way those guys fit in. Personally, probably have to have a few more conversations with Mason and some people in our group, but. Ultimately, I think we like the strength there. We like the ability to have, a lot of different guys in the bullpen that could close out a game. And feel like again we don't want to take away from a big strength and look up and have and have a few different units that are just average. So my guess is we go in with those guys in the bullpen for us.
Speaking of positions of strength, obviously your lineup, your infield is one of them. The top of your rotation is certainly one of them. What do you suppose your willingness may be as this offseason continues to potentially deal from a position of strength to fill other needs you have?
Yeah, I mean, it's again like teams call because they like your players, So I think we've had a lot of conversation, a lot of incoming phone calls, and it's the off season you listen, you said you want to at least have the ability to hear what people are saying and kind of see how people value your players in the organization. But ultimately, we have a good foundation. We have a strong lineup, a team that's won back-to-back 90-win seasons. A lot of those guys coming back that were part of a playoff team this year, really strong bullpen. And we understand there's probably some area and opportunity for guys in the rotation, and free agent class. We're evaluating that every single day and having conversations, with agents there, and same thing on the trade front. So again, it's all about how you put together the best possible team, and we also understand that it's a long way between now and opening day. So there's a lot of different possibilities, different conversations that may come into play. Teams are going to call and like certain players. You're going to listen, but at the end of the day, we think we have a pretty strong bullpen, have a strong, the makings of a strong rotation and lineup, and now trying to get some other pieces that fit what we're doing.
You have made a handful of signings the last few weeks. Dyson Acosta, as of today, Kyle Hart, Ty Adcock, some arms that could provide some depth. What did you like about that group?
Yeah, I think they're guys that our R&D group, our scouting group, they've identified similar to the process over the last few years where you look up, we found Jeremiah Estrella that was on the waiver wire last year. Eduardo Nunez. To me, like there's the ability to go add talent. They're guys that have really good arms, good stuff. We think with some tweaks and some there's some things that maybe with our pitching group and maybe it's a couple different thoughts that we can continue to improve those guys and have them continue to push towards being big league pitchers. Kyle Hart obviously did a good job for us last year at different points in time, especially down the stretch out of the bullpen, and it's a chance to add depth. You always need a lot of pitching options, and I think for us, we have roster space available. With Acosta and Adcock, they were two of the top arms on the minor league free agent side of things, and they're guys that can factor in for us both in AAA and the big leagues this year.
Finally, you mentioned it being a long way until spring training opening day from where we are right now in early December. Last couple of years, it's been, for your team, a bit of a later offseason from the making moves standpoint. Do you anticipate that it could be a little bit like that again this year?
I mean, each year is different. There's years we've been aggressive or active, I should say, at the earlier in the off season. There's years we've been active at the winter meetings. And then other years you look up and it's you get to spring training and there's still some really good players that are available. So last year whether it was Nick Pivetta signing him in spring training, I remember Manny Machado during doing a press conference there in spring training, Jerickson Profar right before. So yeah, I think we're just we're prepared and try to have as much information as possible, and ultimately just because you're at the winter meetings, it doesn't mean you have to line up on something right now. I think we go into it, hey, if there's something that we feel like fits, for our team both now and the future, we'll look at that and consider that. And, if not, you be patient, and that usually means a better, a good opportunity, an opportunity that's better for the organization will come up down the road. That's how we operate.